The challenge is, what do you do if you're running a multi-thousand person organization? And if you truly want breakthroughs, where inside your organization is your crazy idea department? And if you don't have one, then you're stuck in incremental and linear growth, and which means you're moving effectively backwards.
So let's talk about what exactly is an exponential organization, right? And when we were building Singularity University, we actually had the dean of one of the top business schools come through. And after trying to explain what we were doing, after a few minutes, he asked, "How big is your team?" And we looked around the table and there's like 5 of us, and you could see his mind break. Like literally, he kind of left the building. And 5 minutes later, he goes, "Can we go outside and play Frisbee?" And he was like gone. And we realized that something fundamental has changed since about 2008 of how do you build organizations, starting from probably when Amazon Web Services launched, because now you could take computing off the balance sheet and make it a truly variable cost, okay?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, and the challenge is if you're starting afresh as an entrepreneur with an idea, looking to build an EXO, there's a playbook. The challenge is, what do you do if you're running a multi-thousand person organization, right? And you've got biases, you've got the experts who are ingrained in running it the way it's being run, because otherwise they're no longer the expert anymore.
I love what you say, the expert is the guy who can tell you how not to do something,
yeah, exactly, right? How it can't be done. And it's true. And you know, the day before something is truly a breakthrough, it's a crazy idea. Right? So if it's a crazy idea, when I'm speaking to large organizations of any size, and I'm saying, if you truly want breakthroughs, where inside your organization is your crazy idea department? And if you don't have one, then you're stuck in incremental and linear growth, and which means you're moving effectively backwards. I mean, this is what I do with my Abundance 360 community of CEOs. My job is to help them understand that crazy is, in fact, where you begin. And we'll talk about this in the context of a massive transformative purpose and taking moonshots.
So let's get into what do we mean by an exponential organization, okay? Now, when we scoured all of the unicorns to come up with this model, it's important to understand we didn't invent anything. We basically tagged what they were doing and basically harvested and canvassed it all and elucidated this basic model. So our definition of an exponential organization is a purpose-driven, agile, scalable organization that uses accelerating technologies and Peter's 6 Ds to dematerialize, democratize, etc., resulting in a 10x better performance than its non-EXO peers. Okay, and so this is basically the fundamental definition that you can deliver. Now in the Fortune 100, we saw 40x, okay? But we stick with 10x as a nice round number.
And by the way, in order for someone to actually switch from a brand they trust to something that is new and novel, there has to be at least that 10x for people to let go.
Yeah,
right?
if something's 10% better, the market will ignore you.
Yeah, because they're going to go to the tried, true, proven brand that they're used to.
10 times better, you can't ignore it.
You can't ignore it, and the value of making the change is worth it.
A combustion engine car has about 2,000 moving parts in its drivetrain. The Tesla has 17. Right? So in terms of maintenance, design costs, reliability, it's just street lights ahead, and it's not going to go backwards.
Street lights ahead, I like that.
So it's an old analogy from my old days. Okay, so we've talked about what, we've defined the exponential organization. And look at like Figma, right? Gone from 0 to $20 billion market cap in 7 years. Mercado Libre out of Argentina is now the #1 stock market performer in Argentina. And of course, we've seen ChatGPT explode out of the gate at light speed. Okay? Let me give a couple more examples. TED was just a nice conference. 1,000 people a year are going to Monterey. Chris Anderson takes it over. He does 3 things. Establishes a huge purpose, ideas worth spreading. Then he puts all the TED Talks on YouTube, leveraging rich media. Right? Then he allows anybody in the TED community to go create a TEDx event. And in a few years, he's created a global media brand at a cost of near zero. So think about this. He took an established small environment, blew it open to global level at almost zero cost, right? That's unbelievable to be able to do today. Let's give you another example in a slightly older thing. So take used cars, right? How would you radically transform the used car industry? Traditional, very materialized, very physical. Maybe you have an app, maybe you have a better warranty for the car, etc. This is Guazi, a Chinese used car sales company. What they do is when somebody wants to sell a car, they show up, they gather 250 data points, audio, video. They take an audio of the engine and they use machine learning to sense the perturbation in the engine, and they can tell if your engine is high quality or not. They come up with a real-time price in their engine of what that car is worth. They show it to the seller. Okay? They say, that's the price of your car, the real value of your car. We'll give you 10% less than that price right now in cash. Seller goes, here. Then when somebody wants to buy a car, they go, here's the price, we'll charge you 10% more than that price. So this transparent pricing model, plus the thing, cuts out all the middlemen. In 7 years, they captured 80% of the used car market in China. Okay, they sell 2 million cars a month. So think about that. They went from zero. And used cars is not like some gaming Silicon Valley digital environment. This is physical, traditional, very fragmented, and they captured 80% of the market. That's what's possible today if you can have the mentality and the structure to build an exponential organization. Now, when you look to Web3, most of the NFT projects that we see are EXOs. They've built a community. They use many of the attributes. Look at the Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's my Bored Ape, by the way.
Sort of looks like you a little bit.
It does, kind of dopey, a little bit sleep deprived, but trying to be of service. There's a service costume there. Okay? This thing went from 0 to $1 billion market cap in less than a year. And it continues on this pace. So we're going to see an explosion of this, and we'll talk more about that going forward. And so with the rise of what we call the exponential organization, operating at this speed, we declare Coase's law obsolete. Okay? And this is a dangerous thing to say about a Nobel Prize winner, but basically the time when he formulated this law. Today, transaction costs are lower outside than inside. When you're trying to do something in a small environment, you don't suffer from the immune system. You don't have to answer to legal and branding and HR and privacy about why are you doing that thing. I'll give you a really clear example of this that brought this home. When I was at Yahoo, I was the head of innovation running their incubator. When we tried to launch a new feature on say, Yahoo Personals, it took about 8 months to get the feature live. You develop it, systems testing, integration testing, brand testing, security testing, privacy testing, etc. About 8 months. MySpace was roughly similar. Zuckerberg is building Facebook, and he said to his developers, if you think your code is ready, take it live on the live site. Developers are like, are you kidding? You actually trust us and you give us autonomy? But your code better be right, otherwise you're fired if you take down the live site. So they were rolling out a feature a week at Facebook. And so that's why they blew past Yahoo, MySpace, even Google in this model. So there's some characteristics about exponential organizations, and we summarize it overall in the diagram of a brain. Okay. My original co-authors, Yuri Van Geest, Michiel Sherman, and Mike Malone, we put this model together, basically tagging what was going on. There's the massive transformative purpose, there's 5 externalities, and the 5 internal mechanisms. So let's now get into the model of the characteristics of an exponential organization.